Hey guys, I hope you guys are having a great day today. Today we are going to go through my final inventory of the year, and I have to say it increased a lot from last year. Last year I posted my inventory through a series of posts on Instagram, but today I figured I would do it in like a video format on YouTube. So I have my tallies here, and it's a little bit of a yikes. I'm glad I'm back on my no-buy with these numbers, and I have a few thoughts about my makeup consumption and things like that. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer with a love for all things beauty and makeup related, and I'd love it if you subscribed if you aren't already. And let's just hop into it. So I have my numbers listed on this piece of paper here. I have counted everything, and like I said, my makeup consumption has been a bit out of control. So we're gonna go through each category and kind of talk about where I was at this point last year, where I am now, and how I feel about where I'm at. I'm just gonna throw on a lip product though, because my lips are feeling a little bare. Just to give it a little bit of color, this is the Charlotte Tilbury, what is this called? The Tinted Love in the shade Tripping on Love. Just a very like subtle reddy tint. Starting off with primers, I went from 6 primers last year to 7 primers this year. That includes any like illuminating type products, so like the e.l.f. Halo Glow, or Glow Lust, things of that nature, which could be used as highlighter, but my typical use of them is as like underneath the base, so I'm counting those as primers. I went from 6 to 7, so I don't think I'm doing too bad there. I am currently working on my Milk Hydro Grip Primer in my project pan, so hopefully that should be used up soon and we'll go back to 6. But overall I think I'm doing okay. Like in the past year, if I've managed to kind of keep the same amount, I'm pretty happy with that. I do think that I could maybe condense that down a little bit more, just because I really don't use primers that often. I really only use my like glowy ones, or I'll use a gripping one if I have an event. But with how little I'm actually wearing primer, I think that maybe I should cut that back a little bit. Not that it's anything too crazy or too out of control. I think I can use up all the primers that I have, and I do genuinely like the products that I have. I just think that for how often I end up actually wearing primer, I don't think I necessarily need 7. So in 2022, I'm hoping that I will continue using them up and kind of cycling them out and using them and calling it an empty. So we'll see how this next year goes. I'm hoping that this next year I'll be a lot more stagnant with how many products I have and how much I'm like bringing into my collection, which I am on a no buy and I have stuck to it. So I'm hoping that I will be good. The next category here is foundations. So last year I had 10 foundations. This year I have 11. And I know for a fact that I've decluttered some foundations and have brought in new ones. So I think 11 might be a little bit much, but I do genuinely like all of the foundations that I have in my collection right now. It covers like a wide range of light to super light to like medium to full, depending on how you build it up. So I do think I have a nice range. I am not upset about where my foundation collection is at. I think I have shades that are like for my winter tone and shades that are for my summer tone, so there's a good mix in there. I don't think I have used any foundation up enough to finish them soon, so I'm just gonna keep working at it. I will continue to use them, and I will try not to bring any more into my collection. Now, concealers, I've gone a little bit overboard with. I feel like there have been a lot of concealer releases this past year. So I went from 5 concealers to 12. Now that's more than double, and I have a couple categories here where I more than doubled them. So that is a little bit much. I know that I'm currently working on my Kosas Revealer Concealer, which I'm pretty much done with at this point, but I still have it. I'm still like scraping the sides of it. So I could maybe see this counting it as 11 concealers. However, that is still quite a large amount of concealers. I'm also using my color correctors in this category. So I have 2 color correctors, a little palette from NYX and one from Bobbi Brown. So realistically, it's like 9 actual concealers, but I'm grouping them all together. I think that's a little bit much. I do like all of the ones that I have, and they all kind of have like different uses in my collection. So I am going to continue to try and use them up. I already have one planned to add into my project pan once I finish this Kosas one. So I think if I just keep working at it, I could get to maybe a better number, but I'm not upset with where I'm at now, if that makes sense. The next category is bronzers, and I went from 7 bronzers to 16. This is including all of my cream and powder formulas, and I just think 16 is a little bit much. I only have one face. I feel like I could probably make more of an attempt to use up some of the bronzers I have. I currently have one in my project pan, and I often pair the one I have in my project pan with like a cream bronzer. So I think I'm getting good use out of the ones that I have. However, 16 is quite a lot, and I don't necessarily think I need 16 bronzers. So I am putting myself on a bronzer no buy. So I'm already on a no buy, but specifically a bronzer no buy, and there's a couple other categories here that I'm also going to put myself on a no buy for. Yeah, 16 bronzers seems like a bit much. I don't think I would even be able to hit pan on all of those bronzers before like I die. I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna scale back on the amount of bronzers I have. I am happy with my collection right now. I just did a declutter, so if you want to see that, I'll link it in like the eye. I definitely need to scale back on the amount of makeup that I am buying. I really just don't think it's possible for me to use up all of the products that I have in my collection, although I am happy with where my collection is at, like in terms of the products themselves. Like all of the products I have, I'm really happy with the formula and the way they perform. So I'm not going to declutter any more of them right now, at least, but I'm also not going to buy any more. I have also upped my count on highlighters. I went from 4 highlighters to 10, and I think that's okay. Like a couple of them are cream highlighters, a couple of them are powders. I have noticed that I don't wear highlighters as much as I could be. I feel like I have been using my glowy primers instead, so like the e.l.f. Halo Glow, the Or Glow Lust, things like that. But I have actual highlighters that I want to try and make more use out of. So again, I am on a no buy. I won't be purchasing any more for the foreseeable future, and I think I just need to put more of an effort into using the ones I have. These are formulas that I really enjoy, so I am definitely not going to declutter any of them. I think I've said this already. I'm not going to declutter any of them. Now, blushes, I went from 16 blushes to 24. And that seems like a lot. However, blush is one of my favorite categories. It's one of my favorite like things to apply when I do my makeup. So I don't think that this is over the top. I feel like it definitely could have been a lot worse, but I really like all of the blushes that I have. I've purchased quite a few this past year that are those like really cool pink tones that I've been obsessed with lately. So I'm not mad about it. I am gonna try and use more up. I have a cream blush in my project pan. If you follow that series, you know I'm doing my due diligence. I am trying really hard to make my way through them. However, you're just not going to see a ton of progress since they take so long to use up. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this inventory video was to really put into perspective how much makeup I have, and that alongside with my project pan, I'm really getting a perspective on how long it takes to use up these products. And I definitely don't want these to go bad or like sit here and not get used. I do think I rotate through the products that I have enough to warrant how much I have, but I could see myself getting out of control easily if I didn't put these limits on myself. Face palettes, I went from 2 to 3. So I had 2 face palettes before. I had the Hourglass one, which I've spoken about before on my channel as being like a really big regret. And I've also spoken about I don't think I've spoken about it, but the other face palette I had was the Benefit Cheek Leaders face palette. In addition to those two, I added the Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm face palette to my collection. I purchased it during like a Charlotte Tilbury sale a while ago. And I do think I maybe don't need 3 face palettes because I really don't reach for them often. However, I am gonna keep the ones that I have. Like I've said before, the Hourglass one is one that I do not enjoy. However, it was so expensive that I feel like I have to use it. And the other 2 I got on sales, so I don't think that those are like harmful to my collection at all. I do think I need to use them more often though. For powders, I went from 5 to 8, which I don't think is too bad. I've been really enjoying like exploring different powders. I have a couple of loose powders, a couple of pressed powders, and they all kind of have different finishes and effects. So for example, like the Kosas Cloud Set is a super lightweight powder, whereas I have an Essence All Matte powder, which is super mattifying. So they all kind of have different purposes in my routine. However, powders are really hard to finish up, so I think I'm going to try and cut that back a little bit. My next category is something that I actually decreased in. So I went from 23 eyeshadow palettes to 19. And this is really through decluttering a lot of my eyeshadow palettes. I have a whole video of where I decluttered them. I have not used up a single eyeshadow palette, so all of that is from the declutter. I don't think I've added a lot of eyeshadow palettes this year, so I am pretty happy with where I'm at. I think my collection is really curated to what I personally enjoy. If you're wondering what's on my eyes right now, this is the Pat McGrath Utopian Dreams eyeshadow palette. I have a look posted on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to follow me there, I'll have like a handle for you. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at with eyeshadow palettes. I definitely have been trying to use them more. As you guys know, I'm not a huge eyeshadow person in general. Most of my looks are like pretty basic, or I'll just use like a transition shade all over the crease if I want a little bit of something. So I'm trying to get more in the habit of trying to do more like fun creative looks, or just more looks in general. So I think I'm happy with where my eyeshadow palette collection is. I do think that there are a couple that I maybe don't use all that often, but probably should try and get more use out of or declutter. I'm just not at that point yet. So we'll see how that transitions for this next year. But right now, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at with my eyeshadow palettes. So lip liners, I went from 10 to 13. Which I don't think is too bad. I know that the lip liners that I've added to my collection are ones that I really like, ones that are more hyped up in general. Off the top of my head, I can see like the Makeup Forever Anywhere Caffeine lip liner and the Victoria Beckham 002 definer, or lip definer. So I have been using lip liner a lot more these past couple months, so I'm not upset about where my lip liner collection is at. I am going to try and use them more often though. My favorite lip liner formula is the NYX, like the $4 regular pencil lip liners. I think they work perfectly and they're so affordable. A category that kind of grew exponentially is my lip glosses and lip balms. So I'm including lip oils in this. There are a lot. I have been trying to use more of them up. I think 29 is maybe too much, so I'm gonna put more of an effort into trying to use these up. I've already finished a couple through my project pan. I have another one in my project pan right now, so I'm gonna keep trying. 29 is definitely a little bit excessive. I'm a little upset with how much I have. I definitely think that's a little bit too much, but I'm gonna work on cutting that down a bit. And the jump from 12 to 29 seems very excessive. A category that I decreased on though are lipsticks. So I had 22 lipsticks and now I only have 15. I also had a lip declutter video which I will also link here for you to peruse. I really don't use lipstick that much or that often, so this makes sense that after that declutter I have decreased that a lot. I cannot see myself purchasing a lot of lipsticks in the future. I just don't use them. So I'm gonna try and, well, I am gonna withhold from buying any more lipsticks, but the ones that I have are the ones that I really enjoy and I can see myself wearing very often. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at with my lipstick collection. The next category is eyeliners, and I went from 14 to 13. I think that's pretty standard. I have a couple of like black eyeliners, but a lot of my eyeliners are either like the water activated eyeliners. So I have a couple from Glisten Cosmetics. I have a 5 pan from Beauty Bay and a couple of cream like pastel-y shades. So I think this is pretty standard. I have been leaning more towards like a shadow wing lately, so I haven't been using my liquid liners that often. However, I think my collection is pretty good where it's at. I'm definitely not upset about it at all. I think next year I'm hoping to be around the same amount again. Mascaras, I went from 8 to 9, which is pretty standard. I have a couple that are open right now that I'm using, or I'm like rotating through. I have a couple that are drying up that I will be getting rid of soon. So for the most part, it's like whatever. I don't think having 9 mascaras is too much. I have a couple that are of the same formula in different colors. So the Thrive Cosmetics Tubing Mascara, I have 2 open right now, one in black, one in brown, and I also have an unopened one in the blue shade. I think my mascara collection is fine. Mascara isn't something that I keep around forever. They dry out, they expire. So I feel like my mascara collection has pretty much stayed stagnant, and that's kind of what I expected as well. A category that also increased a lot are my single shadows. So I went from 4 to 15. This includes all of my like topper shades, so like the Makeup by Mario Crystal Reflector, the Cosmetics Dewy Pearl eyeshadow, one that I picked up from Victoria Beauty, some cream shadows. It definitely has increased by a lot. I really like them though. Like a lot of these are topper shades that I can just like tap on my lids and get like a really pretty scattered shimmer effect, or a scattered glitter effect I should say. So I'm pretty happy with where that's at. 15 does seem like kind of a lot. However, I'm pretty happy with the ones that I have and I really like the effects they give. So I'm not gonna like stop myself from having 15, if that makes sense. So I'm not buying any more obviously, but I am also not gonna declutter any of them because I really like where my collection is at regarding them. In terms of brow products, this includes brow gels, brow pencils, brow pens, things like that. I went from 13 to 16, so a little bit of an increase there, but I don't necessarily think it's out of control like some of my other categories. I think my brow products are pretty like standard, like ones that I use every day and I cycle through them, so I'm not upset about it. I could definitely try and use some of them up more though. I know I have a couple in my like extras bin, so I didn't count those in this inventory. But yeah, I'm working my way through them. I definitely have a couple that I definitely have a little bit more than I might need, but I am also not mad at what I have. Anyway, those are all the categories of makeup that I counted. I am glad I'm back on my no-buy. Like, going through my inventory really puts into perspective how much I have. While I definitely don't think I have like a massive collection, it might be more than your average consumer. So I am pretty happy with where I'm at though. I try to be more of a conscious consumer, and I'm trying to basically curate my collection to what I really like and really enjoy. And I feel like what I have right now is pretty much that. Like, they're all products that I enjoy using. They're all products that bring me joy. So I would say that I have a curated collection for me and what I enjoy. I don't think that I am totally like out of the blue, out of the water here. Like, I think that although it is larger than most people's, I also think I am happy with where I'm at in my collection. So definitely not anything like revolutionary, but I am happy with where I'm at. I also want to say that the categories that decreased are almost 100% because of declutter, and that just puts into perspective how long it takes to finish up a product. Like, I've known that through my Project Pan. I have been trying to actively finish up products through that. So this just puts into perspective that like the products or the categories that I'm decreasing in are only because I have decluttered and donated, things like that. So I don't know, I am getting a little bit overwhelmed with all of the new makeup releases, things like that, and so I am trying to be really good about not purchasing more. I'm definitely not ignorant to the fact that I do have a large collection and I do need to use up the products. Like, they do go bad, so I am trying very, very hard to use them up as much as I can without being wasteful, if that makes sense. Categories that I definitely think I need to scale back on. So I would say my glosses and balms are getting a little wild. I will say that I put a lip balm in pretty much every single one of my purses, so I don't think they're necessarily like too out there, but a jump from 12 to 29 does seem very excessive. Another category that I think I definitely need to scale back on are bronzers. Like, I just don't think that I'm using bronzer that often to warrant having 16 of them. So bronzers are maybe a little bit out of control. And these next two, so my blushes and single shadows, are definitely way more than what I started with last year. However, blush is my favorite category. I've been loving like a one and done eyeshadow and eyeshadow topper type of look, so I'm not as upset at those two categories as I am with others. I definitely think that it's gonna take me a long time to finish them though. So out of the ones that I have, I think I'm pretty much, I don't want to say stuck because that makes it seem like I'm not happy with them, but those are the ones that I will have continuing on, which I enjoy. So it'll be okay. That is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you guys are doing any sort of like end of the year wrap up, declutter, things like that, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if your guys' own collection has also increased as much as mine has, or let me know like how you guys feel about your collection. Personally, I feel like my collection is larger than what I would typically want. However, my focus has always been having like a curated collection, so I think I have that. So I'm not upset about where my collection is at. I just think I have products that I know that I'm not going to be able to finish, and so I want to make sure that all of the products that I have are getting equal love and equal opportunity to be used. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!